the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So the combine is wrapping up. We just finished with the last of the position groups. I'm sure there'll be some final interviews and stuff going on. But I thought it would be a great time to kind of take a look at a comprehensive list of guys that the New York Jets have shown an interest or due diligence in so far, dating back to Shrine and Senior Bowl up into the combine events where they got a chance to get some formal meetings in. Keep in mind, this doesn't necessarily impact the 30 visits, 30 official visits that the New York Jets will get to bring even more guys in or bring some of these guys back in to kind of cross-sumize, dot-sumize, and cross some T's with. So let's get into this list. Of course, which should be the biggest piece of this list, and surprisingly, it's not necessarily as large as it should be, although again, we're still pretty early on into the process. The offensive line. We have tackles Olumuyiwa Fashanu from Penn State, Amarius Mims from Georgia, J.C. Latham from Alabama, Joe Alt from Notre Dame, Patrick Paul from Houston, and then Donovan Jennings from USF. Now, some of the names that stood out here, obviously, we have the big two at tackle with Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu. You expect one of those guys to potentially fall, with names like J.J. McCarthy rising up, maybe a defensive guy or two landing into that top 9 draft picks ahead of the New York Jets. But there are some interesting things going around some of these guys, right? You have J.C. Latham. He mentioned recently during the combine wanting an opportunity to show that he could be a left tackle and not just a right tackle only kind of prospect. And this would be something that would be extremely beneficial to the Jets. You can start him year one early on the right side, get him some developmental reps on the left to maybe take over for a Tyron Smith or something like that, for example, depending on how the Jets want to play out free agency. You also have Patrick Paul, who's an interesting second to third round type of prospect where he himself obviously isn't lacking any confidence. He's referred to himself as the best pass protector in this particular draft class, and he's coming from an air raid offense where they do ask him quite a lot, playing on an island, winning those one-on-one reps. But overall, there's nothing really crazy here. Any names that really take me by surprise or shock. I do like the fact that we at least have some later round guys that are popping up on here, like Patrick Paul. Donovan Jennings, for example, a 6-year player. He's probably going to be going from tackle to guard as a converted player. But Jet Central mentioned this before. It's something I agree with quite a bit. Not really early on per se, but you want to take advantage of these guys that got that 5th, 6-year option. Are they going to be older prospects? Yes, but they're going to have that experience and be a little bit more technically refined than what you would find from guys elsewise, right? You want to talk about maybe juniors, etc. You take a look at the quarterback class, right? We've spoken with Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, the top 3. Jaden Daniels more interesting to me. I think if there was going to be anybody that could potentially slide a little bit, maybe not all the way necessarily down to 10, and I forbid any kind of trade-ups in this particular draft given the Jets situation. But if anybody was going to slide and somebody might have bit the bullet for it, will probably be Jaden Daniels. But outside of the top 3, we have some other interesting names. Davius Richard out of North Carolina Central, Keaton Slovis out of BYU, and then John Reese Plumlee out of UCF. The name that sticks out to me here, it's definitely Davius Richard, but let's get into some of these other names because there has been some movement, a little bit of hype with some of these guys, right? John Reese Plumlee, not my favorite prospect out of this group by any means, even as a late round guy we could look at to develop. Has some experience at Ole Miss as well, has a baseball background, a little bit of duality in terms of being able to attack through the air and attack on the ground. But Keaton Slovis looks like he's gaining a little bit of steam, right? Out of BYU, again, not another route that I want to go down connection-wise, but he did just run the fastest 40 time of any of the quarterbacks this year, clocking a 4.55 time. We've met with him numerous times when he showed up at the Shrine Bowl. He did suffer from some shoulder and elbow injuries during this recent season. and kind of the hallmark for why he's going to be a guy that's expected to be anywhere from like a 6th to 7th round guy, maybe with his combine performance, to a priority free agent, is because the production under duress. He kind of falls into, literal pieces under stress. That's not something you want to see. It is something you could hopefully develop out of a guy like that. But as mentioned, the guy that I'm most interested in is Davius Richard, North Carolina Central's QB. He did just recently get injured in a HBCU Legacy Bowl where he's suffering from a dislocated right ankle, I believe. But he's a dual threat QB. Could be the first HBCU quarterback to get drafted in somewhere around or over the last 18 years, which is insane. But he provides quite a lot of excitement. I take a look at kind of the talks around the Legacy Bowl for him, and you can tell that a lot of the guys on both sides of the field really respected him. A lot of guys coming up for advice. They wanted to kind of converse with them, and you could really see teams kind of coming to him for that leadership aspect. So love what I've seen there. If, by the way, so far out of all the names you heard, there's anybody that you guys want me to look into further, you guys a scout and breakdown, just let me know in the comments. And then we had a few other interesting names that popped up, right? We've met with Dallas Turner, the defensive end out of Alabama, a guy that I would hate to see us draft, but this is a prime Robert Saleh guy, long, powerful, ferocious, fierce, is coming from that Nick Saban tutelage, so you already know he's going to come out kind of stellar, maybe a step or two ahead of, even though they play different positions, a guy like Quentin Williams, for example, in terms of kind of being that raw player. I think Dallas Turner may have the edge on him a little bit, no pun intended, with him maybe being able to produce a little bit quicker, especially given this scheme. Then you have Blake Watson, the running back out of Memphis. This was a guy highlighted by Mel Kiper as a sleeper, right? Hula Bowl offensive MVP. I kind of look at him as the ultimate Swiss Army knife. He can get kickoff, punt returns, receiving game, he's good. Rushing game, he's good. Pass protection, he's solid. He's not going to be a huge liability there. He can break off big chunk plays. He can grind out the harder stuff for you. This could be a guy, especially in the 4th round, where it seems like we love to kind of use that as the entrance to that running back pipeline. He could be a guy that could definitely make a name for himself for the Jets. And then finally, a guy that's a little bit more known, again, wide receiver Malik Washington out of Virginia. We've seen him absolutely shred everybody during the Shrine Bowl. You talk about him being one of the most productive players in all of college football in his tenure as a collegiate. And this is a guy that I think is going to continue to push his way up to the boards into the very final last minutes leading up to, the official first pick of the NFL draft, because he started off as a guy that maybe was in that 5th to 6th range. By the time he got to the Shrine Bowl and before we even got to the game, just practices being over, he looked like the best guy consistently day in, day out. Particularly not just as a slot receiver, but in the boundary as well. He's just very fluid, smooth guy that seems like he understands really how to manipulate guys to his liking. So this could be a guy that you can look to, maybe look at a slot starter right away, right? Potentially play him on the boundary. I don't think he necessarily has the size where that'll hold up per se, but again, some guys' skill sets kind of transcend positional, limits and boundaries. But again, let me know what you guys ultimately think out of all of these guys. Are there any particular names that you're excited about? Again, these aren't official, 30 visit. This isn't part of the official 30 visits the New York Jets will get with these guys. This is just early kind of touchers and feelers for guys that we know they've met with. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you again. Peace.